Hospitalization, but the vaccines do offer protection, according to a new study from Public Health England, which showed 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine were up to 93% effective against the Alpha variant. Pandemic boozing has been the subject of many a recent study, but now a survey on how much kids are drinking.
Underage youth consumed more than $17 billion worth of alcoholic drinks sold in 2016. That was nearly 10% of all the booze sold in the U.S. that year. That's according to a new study from the University of North Carolina School of Public Health. Alcohol is the #1 drug used among people ages 12 to 20.
Jim Crisula there. A new study is out on the world's coolest streets, and sorry, New York, Broadway, or any other New York street for that matter, did not make the cut. Time Out used culture, food, and drink, and nightlife as the criteria. Number 5, Sunset Boulevard in L.A. Number 4, San Isidro in Havana. Number 3, South Bank in London. The Passage de Sant Joan in Barcelona. I probably botched that pronunciation, sorry. And you'll have to travel very far to reach the #1 coolest street, Smith Street in Melbourne, Australia, a buzzy spot described as a melting pot of culture, incredible venues, and good vibes. About traveling the streets of New York, have you had any trouble getting an Uber lately? And if you got one, was it pretty pricey? Many drivers quit during the pandemic when they weren't needed because people were staying home. Now, though, e-commerce analyst David McGill says riders are out and about.
That created a really strong surge in demand, and there just weren't the drivers to keep up with that demand, and so that's when you see the high prices.
Uber is offering incentives like $1,000 bonuses for drivers. Prices have been soaring in recent weeks. A new Barbie is a lot more than just a surfer Barbie. She is saving the planet.
Barbie borrowed from the ocean for her new look. Mattel has unveiled a new line called Barbie Loves the Ocean. 90% of the dolls are made from recycled ocean-bound plastic. That includes her beach shack and oceanside accessories. The collection ranges from about $10 to $20.
Diane King Hall there. TikTok making headlines again. The U.S. wants to remove a Trump ban on TikTok and WeChat. China's reacting, saying this is a positive step toward improving strained relations with the U.S. The Trump administration said TikTok and WeChat come with security risks, that they might have links to the Chinese military. The National Security Council is still evaluating. Winds News Time, 10:19.
I'm Lee Harris with Talk and Tech. Supersonic air travel could be making a comeback. United Airlines says it plans to buy up to 50 jets from Boom Supersonic once the startup designs a plane that flies faster than the speed of sound while also meeting safety and environmental standards. United says the plane will slash flight times in half between New York and London to 3.5 hours. It's been nearly 2 decades since the last flight of the supersonic Concorde. Several companies are working to come up with new supersonic jets that would be more economical on fuel and create fewer emissions than the Concorde. Boom is working on a 1/3 size prototype it plans to test later this year or early next year. United is hoping to carry passengers on the plane by 2029. Talk and Tech, I'm Lee Harris, and for more, click on podcasts at 1010wins.com.
Speaking of which, on the next episode of our 1010 Wins In-Depth podcast, we look at the Republicans running for mayor. Listen and subscribe on 1010wins.com.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good morning, 77 degrees at 10:20. I'm Bridget Quinn. Here's what's happening. The Macy's Fireworks Show is back this year. The last mayoral debate before early voting starts tonight. It is at 7 o'clock live on 1010 Wins. Glenn Shuck previews, and our Juliet Papa will be hosting a special. The first woman to head the MTA, not yet, thanks to a move or lack of a move in Albany. 2 FDA advisory board members quit over the approval of a new Alzheimer's treatment. President Biden meets Boris Johnson in the UK today, and we will take you to Stan Lee Street in the Bronx. But first, we want to take you to the mayor's briefing where he is talking about those fireworks.
City. And I am so appreciative to the folks at Macy's. They've been such good friends and partners to the city of New York. They are bringing back the full-scale fireworks show as we have loved it for decades and decades, back to New York City for all of us to enjoy. Now, this will be the biggest show yet. Literally, Macy's putting together the biggest fireworks display they ever have. And we know last year we had to do it a very different way. It was great, but it wasn't that same extravaganza we're used to. This year, back and literally better than ever. And because people have gotten vaccinated on such an extraordinary scale, it allows us to have many, many people in attendance. There's going to be dedicated areas for fully vaccinated folks, other areas for folks who are not vaccinated or want to join together with family who are not vaccinated. All will be managed by the NYPD to keep it safe. This is really great, a tremendous sign of the rebirth of New York City. And here to talk about it, the executive producer of this year's display. He's someone who loves this city and is going to give us a great show. My pleasure to introduce from Macy's, Will Koss.
Okay, we will be hearing from Will later here on 1010 Wins, but we do want to bring you up to speed on traffic and transit amidst that good news about the fireworks. Karen Stewart, go right ahead. All right, they've cleared, Bridget, that southbound Bruckner accident investigation. Finally, near Longwood Avenue, all lanes have been reopened, no longer with the threat of a full closure again, and the northbound police activity in the left lane on the Bruckner at Longwood is cleared as well. We've got police activity over on the Jackie Robinson Parkway. I can't figure out what it is. It's near Queens Boulevard. It's in the left lane. There are eastbound delays that are very heavy. They go back to around Woodhaven Boulevard. We're also jammed in Kew Gardens on the westbound Grand Central still from 188th Street. We've got delays on the eastbound Grand Central 2 to Kew Gardens. Delays don't go back to Jewel Avenue, at least not right now. The Clearview is ridiculously heavy from pretty much the LIE up into the Bronx-bound Throgs Neck Bridge. The northbound Cross Island Parkway delay is minor, heavy, but very, very short. It doesn't even hit Fort Totten Park. And the bridge itself, as we check what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels, is decent into Queens, a little bit slow on the Queens side heading into the Bronx. We've got some Bronx-bound delays over the Stone Bridge. RFK, so much better, but the BQE eastbound is jammed to the Grand Central Parkway westbound, just trying to get there. We're sponsored by Storage Blue, and Storage Blue sells storage that be easier, free pickup, guaranteed to beat any price, no reason to store anywhere else. StorageBlue.com, visit them or 781 Storage to schedule your free pickup. Storage Blue, the cheapest self-storage. I'm Karen Stewart on 1010 Wins. And more now about getting back to normal with a bang. The Macy's 4th of July fireworks will be back as a live event on the East River this year, and there will, yes, be public viewing locations again. Those with verified vaccinations will be able to gather at spots along elevated sections of the FDR in Manhattan. Those who are not vaccinated will gather in spots in parts of Queens and Brooklyn and Manhattan. Last year's show was pre-taped at undisclosed locations around the city in an effort to avoid crowds. A new number 2 in the polls ahead of tonight's New York City mayoral debate.
It is Maya Wiley now surging in the polls as she looks to keep that momentum going. She'll attend the debate along with Scott Stringer, Andrew Yang, and Catherine Garcia. Eric Adams will not, opting to attend a vigil for Justin Wallace in Far Rockaway. As questions surface exactly where Adams lives, opponents insist he's been spending a lot of time with his girlfriend at a condo in Fort Lee. But Adams insists he lives in Bed-Stuy and has for 2 decades. Andrew Yang offering this solution.
So I'm going to suggest a way that Eric can clarify this for all the people in New York who are interested in the burnout. Just release your easy pass records of your city vehicles over the past couple of years. If you've been in Brooklyn, then it will show nothing and it will all move on. But I'm appealing that you will not release the easy pass records because it will show very, very clearly that he's been living in New Jersey for most of the last 2 years.
The early voting begins in just 2 days. The primary 12 days away. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Wins, here in Midtown.
And remember, we will have live coverage starting at 7 o'clock tonight on 1010 Wins and 1010wins.com. And make sure to stick around after. Our Juliet Papa hosts a post-debate special. Sarah Feinberg might not become the first woman to head the MTA after all. Lawmakers in Albany have said no to taking up Governor